Good morning. It is Friday, June 18th, 2021. I'm back here for Bed Talk 322. Today, I want to talk about this word here, grace, specifically creating and allowing space for grace. It's interesting when you search the word grace, as I did this morning, you'll find that nearly all of the references and a lot of the images come from a faith or religious background. We talk about saying grace, the grace of God, and all true and relevant. But it's interesting that we don't usually think about it every day. When was the last time you used the word grace outside of a religious context? Um, and where I would say is this idea of giving grace to others and allowing some grace or handling a situation with grace. And so, what I'm thinking about are situations that, differences between us, differences generally, different perspectives, different opinions, allowing grace for mistakes, imperfections. So, for example, you're around someone, I've had it happen. Someone says something that offends me, bothers me, troubles me in some way. If I jump in and start going after them about it, almost attacking them, then first of all, they're unlikely to hear me. And second of all, it becomes about this. Grace is not saying it's okay, but speaking in a way with grace, to speak to someone in with a tone or lack of tone that demonstrates grace. And also to remember that it's so important to give ourselves grace. How often, when you make a mistake or don't get things right or don't achieve your goals, you start beating yourself up? In fact, I was on a call the other day and we were talking about accountability and commitments. And the question was, what was your commitment and did you honor it or not? Yes or no? And that was on purpose. And yet, someone, when they answered the question, said, well, here was my commitment. And I just have to say, I failed miserably. They immediately went to failing and miserably and all these labels on themselves when it's a simple question: did you do it or not? Yes or no? So I would say he did not allow himself grace. And we often forget to give ourselves grace as well as give others grace. And the concept of space for grace means we've got to slow things down. The space is to just that difference between reacting to a situation or a difference or whatever it is, or a trigger. If we can allow the space, just that pause in that space is where we can allow grace. So that's the topic for the day: allowing space for grace, grace for others, grace for situations, and grace for yourself. And let me remind you, this is not about not having your opinions. This is not about not having boundaries. This is not about not being honest. It's about living with grace, offering grace, allowing grace, and as I said, creating space for grace. That's it for today. Keep taking care of yourself and everyone around you. Stay connected and have a wonderful weekend.